Okay, here we are with the paint dried. I've taken the liberty of putting one coat on the roof, reasonably dark grey, and the end is darkened up as well. On an open wagon I would go over the steel here in black and do some detail, but this time I think we'll just leave it as it is, and now we'll start the process of dirtying it up. Okay, I'm going to start here with some burnt umber, so I'll just put a bit of burnt umber into my little tray there, and we might try putting some of that on with a sponge. Now here is some sponge that I cut the other day, and it's very rough, and that's good. You don't want even edges when you're doing this sort of thing, because you want random effects. So what we do is scrunch it up a bit, if that's a word, scrunch, and we'll just dip it in the paint, lose a bit of it, and just dab it on randomly in areas, just like that, and then with the other end of the sponge just give it a wipe. So what you finish up with is this dirty effect on what's already there. Now it might be more obvious on the end of the wagon, so we'll try a bit on there. There's still some left on here, still some paint left on there, and we'll dab it on and just give it a wipe downwards, and already it's starting to get that dirty effect. I hope you can see that. It's starting to get that dirty effect, but that's how we go about it. And with the wiping it off, it sort of gives it that even look. So I'll do a bit more here. I might work, see, I'm only doing one panel at a time really. Now the thing is to make sure you don't have too much paint on the sponge, and we'll just dab some on the door here, on the right hand side of the door. Now there's a little bit too much on there, but I'll wipe that off, and then I'll dab a bit more on the other side. It's not coming off, here it is, just a bit there, and wipe that, and we're getting that grubby look to it now. Actually it's not too bad really. It's difficult to see it under this light, but that's looking pretty good. And we'll do a bit more, we'll get a bit more paint, and I'll just work my way around the wagon with this sort of method, and as I say, keep it a bit random to give that sort of natural effect I suppose we're looking for. And it's coming up quite nicely there, because this colour is quite a lot darker than what's already on there. Now we'll do a bit more on the end again, on the other end. I hope I'm holding this so you can see it. It's hard to do it and run a camera at the same time, so we'll give this a couple of dabs on here, just like that. It's a bit heavy on some bits. Now we'll just give it a wipe and pull it off, and it leaves a smeared area there. We can give it a bit more work there, and maybe on this little panel at the top just give it a bit more work on there. Now we'll have a go at the roof with the same method, if you can see what I'm doing here. So I'll just do a bit on the end here, and I've got sort of a few dabs here and there. I think I might have to get some more paint. We'll just rub that off there. See how we go. Right, more paint. Right, the roof's coming up okay. I want to get some black on there now, and actually some of the paint that I put on earlier has come off, but that's okay. We'll cover that up. Right, now we'll try some black. Get rid of the excess. And put that on. I actually quite like the sort of random effect it gives using the sponge. Try a bit more on there, just to hide my mistake. And a bit more around here. It's a bit too much there. So that's alright, I'll use the other end of the sponge. And this is a carbon black, so this dries very flat. It's brilliant, this paint. It's Joe Sonia. It's called Carbon Black. If you can get hold of some, if you want to do nice flat black on chassis or whatever you want to do, it's brilliant. But you got to get good quality stuff. Yeah, that's coming up. Oh, that's pretty bad. That is seriously weathered. So what I'll do is let that dry, and we'll probably go over that with something else, just to sort of lighten it up and make it look more muddy. I don't know whether you guys can all see that, but anyway. And while I've got the black here, I'll put some on other bits of the wagon. There's some on there, so we'll drag that around. Bit on there, a bit on there. It's a filthy old wagon, isn't it? Wow. Now the other end. Your fingers get a bit mucky doing this as well, but you know, that's what it's all about. We're putting muck on. Not sitting around drinking tea and having cakes. We're doing a dirty job here. Right. Oh, that's pretty good. Now, not real happy with that roof, but we'll see how that dries up. You can always have a go at rubbing it off if it's too bad. A bit more black on here. Bit of black there. Rub it off. Just random. As I say, don't do too much at once, because it'll dry on you. It's a bit too thick there. Just a bit there, a bit down there. How we going? Yeah. I don't know. I hope you can see all this. I'm taking a bit of a punt whilst recording this, and just hoping that you can see what I'm doing. And yeah, the sponge is holding quite a bit actually. I've noticed some of the weathered, similar wagon to this, a dipole wagon, and it's weathered. What is it, or is it Bachmann? It might be Bachmann. And one thing with the weathering that they do, it's obviously done with an airbrush, but it's a little bit, to me, it's a little bit too even. I suppose you're not going to get some poor sod sitting in a factory doing this and getting paid for it. They want something that's done fairly quickly. So I guess the airbrush is the way to go. A bit more on the ends, or leave it? Maybe just on that end up the top there. Just a bit round there. Yeah, oh yeah. Looking good. And a bit on the end here, in the corner. Yeah, coming along nicely. Now, the other thing is too, you'd never know that those GWR logos were under there. I mean, some people have to go to the trouble of taking a lot of this stuff off before they even start painting. I mean, this paint covers stuff pretty well. I'm going to leave that alone because that looks pretty good. Okay, as I say, still unsure about the roof, but we'll have a look at that when it's dried. Okay. Well, here it is in some better light, and I just thought I'd sit it on the chassis and give you a look. Yeah, I haven't touched the roof or anything yet. This is just, as I said before, I wasn't too sure about the roof. And there's the other end. There you go. And the sides, the other side's very similar. It's getting the business really. Still got a bit to go though. Okay, that's not too bad, I think. Okay, folks, the roof is not too bad. I'll add some lighter colour to that as I go later on. But at the moment, I've got some gold oxide here, which I'm going to use with the sponge again, and just insinuate a bit of rust here and there. And I'm putting it mainly on the raised pieces of the metal, and just giving it a flick here and there. Some of it's getting onto the wood, that doesn't matter. Just do that as we go along, and give it a bit of a wipe here and there. Now I'm going to try and get it on most of the metal. So we'll put some on the corner here. Just give it a touch, and then wipe some of it off. That doesn't look too bad actually. Maybe a bit in the middle here. And on the ends where there's more metal, and just a little dab leaves what looks like sort of spots of rust. Sorry, I moved it out of the shot there. And we can do this all the way around. Just giving it a flick and a wipe here and there. Just to build up the different layers and different colours of what we're trying to do here. Get a bit more paint and wipe some of it off into the tray, and we'll do this end just lightly and wipe off what's not required. You can always come back later and touch up if you want to. That doesn't look too bad. Can you see that now? It's if I get it in the light correctly, it's coming along. And I was thinking about doing some on the roof, but I'm not sure yet. So that's looking okay there. Now this time I've grabbed a fresh piece of foam rubber, because the other's got all colour on it, and this time I'm using a bit of white, and really don't want to get too much contamination with the white from other colours, so we'll just try this on the roof just to see how it goes. Give it a few dibs and dabs there and wipe off the excess, and a couple more dibs and dabs here and there. Again, wiping off what we don't require. This wagon's really had a bit of a hard life, and what the white's doing is actually breaking down that excessive black on the roof. I had a little bit too much there, I think, and this is helping to spread that and dilute it, I suppose. And it's giving quite a good result. Looks like a poor old roof's had a hard time. I might need some a bit more grime on there as well. Yeah. So we can carry on around to the sides of the wagon with some of this this white. Again, I'm wiping off the excess. Now moving to the sides of the van. Just excuse my silence, I'm trying to line this up with the camera so you guys can see what I'm doing. I might have to try and set this up in some better way, but you can see I'm putting it on and very quickly just wiping what I put on there. And the white really adds something to it, I think. I don't know why, it just to me it looks better. It looks as though it's been knocked around a bit. So that's one side done, and to keep it consistent we'll go right round. Just lose a bit of paint there. The thing you can gather from this is that there's so little paint going on, yet it's just enough to change the palette here of what we're looking at. Now we're back to the opposite side of the van. Feel like I've got a bit too much white there, but we'll see how it goes on. When you're putting the paint on like this, it's pretty much dry as soon as you've done it, because there's so little on there. And it's coming up quite well actually. This is a bit of a, I possibly could do better than this. I suppose I'm not concentrating like I would if the camera wasn't running, but still in all it's coming up quite well. It's wiping on, wiping off a lot of the time, just to add that palette of different colours of dirt and grime into what we're looking at here. So I guess that's not focused, but you can see that the roof looks pretty drastic. Actually looks better than it does on the camera, I would think. I might give it a bit more on the top there. Right. That's one seriously weathered wagon. Right, here we are. This has really had a hard life, this wagon. And you're seeing probably a well-lit version of it. Look at the roof. My God. What's going on there? Where's it been? There you go. Look at that. Now the chassis hasn't been done, or the wheels. The buffers need to be rubbed back again to get those mould lines off there. And maybe a bit more grime of the darker colours on the ends and everything. It looks quite light on this screen, but there you go. It's getting there. A bit more work required, I think. So essentially, that's it. I mean, the thing that the weathering really is up to you, what you want to do, what you want it to look like. But these are the techniques. This one's a bit extreme, I think. It looks like it's had 50,000 pigeons living on the roof of it for a while. But yeah, things happen. So there you go, folks. We might leave it at that. Cheers, gourmet.